is Linda Smith of top producer Win Bossy from Ag Resource this morning. Looking.
Thank you, Linda. And we had a stocks and seedings report that was widely anticipated by the trade. The numbers came out disappointing for old crop demand, in particular corn, and a little positive on some of the seeding numbers for soybeans and corn. So we would imagine that bear spreads, nearby market, will lead the way down today. Initial calls are somewhere between 5 to 7 cents lower in corn, 15 to 20 cents lower in beans. Wheat's called about 3 to 6 lower. As we look at the data, as a big surprise was probably in the corn stocks number, 76.94 was the estimate. That was about 200 million bushels greater on stocks than was expected. And so the USDA will likely reduce their feeding estimate somewhere between 100 and 200 million bushels in the April WASDE report. U.S. feed consumption numbers were just not up to snuff. It's a little bit surprising relative to all the talk about light test weight corn and off quality that was heard throughout the Midwest. But invariably, this number here in March confirms USDA's bigger crop estimate that they came back with earlier this month in terms of a corn yield of 164.9 bushels per acre. So the corn stocks number is definitely negative and will add to corn stocks as we look down the road. Soybean stocks also came out negative, 1270, 1.270 billion bushels versus 1.302 last year. That's up about 60 million bushels above the average trade guess. We found beans, and I guess the logical thought process on that is that a lot of beans were in transit during the December 1st time frame, likely to China in the big export program that we had. Those beans were found, and in this report anyway, it gives us more comfort in terms of ending stocks looking forward. With South America to have record large production, this stocks number should give the soybean market some bearish potential as we look closer to $9 as the first initial downside target. U.S. wheat stocks 1352, maybe slightly positive as we fed a little more wheat. That's down about 18 million bushels from trade expectations. But again, I think the corn and the soybean number will outweigh wheat, even though it is a little bit supportive. As we turn towards the acreage numbers, U.S. corn acres, 88.8 million acres. That's up about 2.2 million acres from last year, a little bit below the average trade guess at 89.2. And so in a general sense, that could be seen as a little supportive. But as we get into spring here, particularly as weather is favorable, a lot of people will be adding back maybe as much as 1.5 million to 2 million acres if the planting season is normal. U.S. soybean acres, 78 million acres, up 500,000 from last year, also a record. A little bit below the average trade guess at 78.5, so like corn, a little supportive. Spring wheat seedings were 13.9 million acres, about 400,000 acres above expectations. And so as you add everything together, it does look like USDA's Outlook Forum estimates, which talked about reduced total seedings of U.S. grains, are correct. Now, again, there's a history here in which USDA tends to be a little conservative in the March intentions, but as we get to June, if spring weather is normal, we would not be surprised that some of these total seeded acres in the United States go up anywhere between 2 to 4 million acres. So that'll be the big focal point as we get forward here. But this morning, the big impetus is going to be focused on the stocks numbers on old crop and the demand, domestically speaking, for feed residual in corn and to a lesser degree soybeans was just not as to be expected. So lower calls to start the day. Look for bear spreads to give up some of their gains of recent sessions. My name is Dan Bossy of Ag Resource Company, and we hope you have a good week and a better holiday forthcoming. Bye-bye.